Everyone, my name is Orlandina Balan, and I am the Fitter Woman. I'm so excited to be here on Get Cozy with Daniel and Kiyaya. I'll be sharing one of my favorite stories, Solomon's Southern Fist. It's about a little boy who loves martial arts and has been selected to compete in a national competition. And now Solomon is stricken with fear. This story takes us to his journey to finding his bravery and courage within. You can find my show, Muscles and Stilettos, on the Rude Rangers Network.
Hi, my name is Daniel Carter, certified personal trainer through National Academy of Sports Medicine and certified nutrition coach through Precision Nutrition. So, we have your training program here, right? Now, what do we eat? The $1,000,000 question. We have protein, carbs, and fats. This is where I help you break it down. All the steps, all the coaching right here on your phone. Add it to the top of your plan, and now you're good to go step by step. Contact me, more information.
Stories are such an important part of our lives. Join my friend Kiyaya and I for Get Cozy, because it's story time with Kiyaya and Daniel, where we share some of the greatest picture books and chapters from children's and young adult literature to inspire you to keep embedding literacy into your days. I'm Daniel, and Kiyaya and I are here to share this all with you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Orlandina Balan, and I am the Fitter Woman. I'm the host of Muscles and Stilettos, and today I'm going to be sharing one of my favorite books. It's called Solomon's Southern Fist. It's written by Nardu Debrah and illustrated by Kiyaya Daniel. Solomon is 10 years old. Besides school, he loves Chinese Kung Fu. Every Wednesday evening and Friday afternoon, Solomon goes to the martial arts school a couple blocks away from his home. And this was a Wednesday evening. Solomon listened eagerly as his Sifu, teacher, told stories of the martial art known as Hunga. Hunga began in the southern area of China, said Sifu. It consists of the powerful movements of the mighty tiger, the speed of the swift snake, and the grace and elegance crane. The strength of the magnificent leopard and the fierceness of the majestic dragon. As Sifu talked, Solomon imagined that he was at battle with a hungry, wet tiger in the ocean. As it attacked him, he would face the tiger head-on without any fear, evading the tiger's blows. The tiger continued his attack, and young Solomon pursued his attack in total confidence. Everybody up, commanded Sifu. Review the basics. Begin. All the children began working on their basic stances and other exercises under the watchful eye of Sifu. As class finished, Sifu called up Solomon and told him that he has been selected to compete in a national competition. He would be performing a set movement called Fu Hok Sun Ying, a tiger crane form. Now, most students would be overjoyed to hear such news. However, young Solomon was stricken with fear. He thought to himself, I can defeat tigers and dragons only in my head, but this is the real thing. Performing in front of not only my mom, but another few hundred spectators. Solomon looked up at Sifu and said, I'm not sure I can do it. I've never competed before, and I'm a little scared. Don't worry. You'll have plenty of time to train properly, and by the time the tournament arrives, you'll be well prepared, said Sifu. Go home and get a good night's sleep. Next time you come, we will begin sharpening your form and building your confidence that you'll need to do your best. I love the illustrations in this book. Solomon twisted and turned in his bed that night as he dreamed he was being defeated and overwhelmed by a tiger. Its strength and power was too much. When Solomon woke up, he realized that he was just a small boy who can never defeat a larger, more powerful tiger. It was just too fast, too strong, and Solomon was just too scared. He felt he could never get over his fear. Friday afternoon after school, Solomon arrived to Kung Fu class. Sifu began to talk with him privately. He said, "Martial art is more than a system of fighting. It is a system of thought. You must outthink your opponent in whatever form he takes." Solomon didn't completely understand. He wondered if his Sifu was talking about the dream he had the other night. Sometimes your opponent is not even human. Sometimes he takes on other shapes like hatred, jealousy, anger, and especially fear. If you give in to these emotions, even if you win, you still lose. Do you understand? Yes, Sifu, I understand. And although I'm still a bit nervous, I won't let it destroy my focus. I will compete to the best of my ability. Sifu slightly smiled and said, "Remember, fear is false evidence appearing real." All right, let's begin then. "First," said Sifu, "you already know the form. Now we just need to tune in and you must accent each hand position. Second, the stance must be as firm as a mountain. Maintain your stance and the hands will follow. The third element is the most important in Southern Fist of Kung Fu. That element is spirit. This is the most important. This is something that I cannot give to you. It must come from deep inside of you. Without spirit, you are like a spark which has not become a flame." When young Solomon heard his Sifu say this word, he immediately remembered the dream, the first duel he had with the tiger in his imagination. He remembered that at that time his spirit was much like the tiger, his speed was like the snake, his power was like the leopard, and he was as graceful as the crane and as fierce as the dragon. For the first time, Solomon had felt all the power of all the animals in him, and he was ready. Tournament day arrived, and young Solomon was more nervous than ever. However, he kept his inner intensity and simply waited until it was his turn to compete. And because he was classified as a junior, he didn't have to wait too long. The competitors were being scored from 5.5 to 10. The first place winner won a gold medal, the second a silver, and the third a bronze. Other competitors competed with great skill, while Solomon was not yet to be called. Next up, Solomon, demonstrating tiger crane form, the judge shouted. Young Solomon's heart was pumping, super fast. However, he stayed strong and walked to the center of the floor. Suddenly, he froze. He couldn't remember his form or even his name. He was stuck, frozen. The judge shouted, "Begin!" Solomon felt as if everything was in slow motion and silent. He could feel the sweat dropping down his face. He felt the same way he had when he had had that nightmare of the tiger, but this was not a dream. It was the real thing. Solomon then remembered the words of his Sifu. Kung Fu is more than a system of fighting. It is a system of thought, and you must outthink your opponent in whatever form he takes. Solomon closed his eyes and said to himself, "Fear is false." It can't stop me. He opened his eyes, and suddenly he began to move. However, it didn't look like Solomon. It looked more like the 5 animals of Hunga, all rolled into one. It was fantastic. Solomon was not at all doing the preset movements of the form. He was just flowing from movement to movement with grace and uncommon strength. This was not any style or system of martial art that the judges or anyone had seen before. It was simply Solomon, overcoming his fear by pulling deep from inside himself and remembering the words of his teacher. The auditorium roared with applause. He received a standing ovation. Even the other competitors looked at him in awe. Solomon received a score of 9.9, which was more than enough to put him in first place. He won the gold medal, making his Sifu proud, and was given the title Champion of the Southern Fist. Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed that story. You can find this book online. Again, it's called Solomon's Southern Fist by author Nardu Debrah and illustrated by Chi Debrah. Wasn't that a great story? To learn how a little boy, just like you and me, could overcome his fear and win first place, all because he found that inner courage. Can you think of a time where you had to be courageous and brave to overcome your fear? I want you and your family to talk about it. You might just be surprised of how brave and courageous you all are.
Orlandina, thank you so much for joining us today on Get Kozy, because it's story time with Kiyaya and Daniel. Your reading of Solomon's Southern Fist was absolutely phenomenal, and it made me think of something. So instead of our typical, let's get crafty, let's think of a way to share some of our times that we were brave with each other, or the time that we realized that we could do something that we never thought we could before. And I actually have a personal tie-in to your story, Orlandina, and that was when I was about 9 years old, maybe 10, and I was studying Taekwondo. And I am one of the least athletic people you will ever come across in your entire life, but I was able to do something when I earned my red stripe on my yellow belt. Because yes, after all of these years, this is one of those things that I have held on to. And one of the things that I needed to do to earn this red stripe was to break a board. And again, I never thought I would be able to do it. But here it is. I was able to put my foot, tiny little runt of a kid, was able to muster all his energy to use concentration to do this task. And I would be lying if I said I wasn't thinking of someone's face as my foot went through the board, but that's neither here or there. Share with us on our social media, at STITCHINGwolf on Facebook and Instagram, a time when you were braver than you thought you were originally. And we'll be back in another couple of days for another episode of Get Kozy, because it's story time with Kiyaya and Daniel. Have a wonderful day. Stay healthy.